was to tell us time for a lunch in it, but now I'm going to ring him to declare a commitment to having inclusive education in Nigeria that take care of the peculiarity of person with disability. The individual differences to make them themselves. Just like them before. I've been suggesting. I don't know if I went to special education. I went to mainstream school in the past. So join us to make it
our commitment to implementation of inclusive education in Nigeria, we make sure that the implementation will go down to the grassroots, to the children with special needs that need this implementation, and all the stakeholders are involved so that this implementation will get to the grassroots. The ministry will partner with everyone that are ready to partner with us, and we'll get it done.
Thank you. Country Director, Chela.
Okay, thank you again, everybody. For the Leprosy Mission Nigeria, we want to make that commitment not just in words but in action. That we will continue to facilitate the network of the different disability organizations, create the enabling environment to ensure that we have that common platform where we'll continue to synergize our ideas, we'll continue to provide that monitoring, and continue to ensure that we help find the required resources that is required to fuel our effort as we go on to ensure that no child is left behind. And so on the basis of that commitment on behalf of the National Director and on behalf of my colleagues of the Leprosy Mission Nigeria,
Chairman.
Here is FCT. So on behalf of FCT, we persons with disability seriously committed to the full inclusion, full mainstreaming, full implementation of inclusive education for children with disabilities at the grassroots to the higher levels, from birth of any child with disability with their specific needs. We hope that they can succeed in education to achieve their ambition on equal basis with others, without discrimination in FCT, and including those that are not in schools, to make sure that they are fully included in school from now until we will die.
Next.
I make commitments on behalf of the Secretary of Education that the technical committee that has been constituted for this laudable program has been working tirelessly to ensure that all children from the villages partake in education. Just like the gentleman said that over 700 or what? 7,000 they could not access education. The Secretary of Education is so much committed to this. He has passion for this inclusive education. And so, those children from the villages and wherever will be brought out from wherever they are to gain education. So I made this commitment that we are not going to relent our efforts, I also want to use this opportunity to send a message to my sister, to all the private schools. You are going to be coming to register with us in Department of Special Needs Education. That is a program we have at hand. Yes, you will register with us because private schools inclusive. So I made this commitment. We are doing our best. And I know that every child, no child will be left out in education. In Jesus' name, amen. Every child.
On behalf of my director, SCT Secondary Education Board, I stand to also ring the bell, making commitment that we will do all that is possibly within our reach to ensure that children with disabilities and other categories of special needs are well met with the necessary services that will help them to come up with effective learning. And we will also ensure that attention will not just be given to only those with physical disabilities. A lot of our children are having serious emotional problems due to environmental factors, and that has been affecting them in their learning. So we'll ensure that teachers don't leave any child that needs special attention unattended. By this, we'll be going to our schools to sensitize our teachers to ensure that those that are called slow learners and underachievers, that they are not having physical disabilities, will be well taken care of. That they will be looked into to ensure that they are well served, also with other categories of children that are performing well, so that at the end, their intention of coming to school will be achieved. Thank you.
On behalf of the director, SCT UF, we are making commitments that the facilities, the teachers that we have been providing under the FCT Education Secretariat will continue. And the monitoring of these inclusive education centers will also be very, very active because we have been doing that. So we'll continue to do that. Thank you.
So, the parent of. Okay.
As I ring this bell, it is a movement. It is a shift in my mindset from anger, from disappointment, that our parents, our fathers, our policy makers is to move from that disappointment, from the failure that I think that the society, the country, as the nation have, exhibited so far towards our children. It is to move from that disappointment and that anger to hope. As I ring this bell today, I represent every parent, every father, every mother in Nigeria with a child with special needs. I remember the tears, the rejection that our children have experienced in schools. I remember the high cost that we have to place in private schools to ensure our children get an education. And I remember millions of children who are out of school because it looks like there is no hope. As I ring this bell, I hope that henceforth we will no longer experience the cumbersome and burdensome interactions, that border, that wall of, I don't know what to call it, limitation that separates us from our parents, the ministries. I hope that this ringing of this bell will now ensure that there's a robust relationship between us, the parents, and the ministries. As I ring this bell, I hope and I pray that everything I said here would be what would be done that we will move from the position of policy makers to policy implementers. As I ring this bell, it is to every child, every parent with special needs, and with a commitment that our children can and will learn.
Thank you. President, private proprietors.
This bell I'm going to ring today, it's going to be a bell of sincerity on the part of every school, on the part of every teacher, to be sincere with every child we are going to receive or that we already have in our custody. This bell today, I know the heavens are hearing us, and I know we have human witnesses. And what I'm here to say today is that we are guaranteeing you that every child that is going to be received into the schools that we run and cater to are going to be sincerely taken care of. We are here to assure you that the space and place of every child that will come into our custody will be secured. Their future will not be marred. It will not be that we will look at the children and we'll be wondering what's going to happen tomorrow. What's going to become of these ones? Are they going to be dependent for life? I'm here to say that I believe that we're going to have the support of the government and everyone that can support us. We are committing to implementing, because the policymakers are making, it's the teachers that implement. So I am here on behalf of the private schools to say that we are going to be very judicious in implementing the policies and even making sure that beyond the policy, the humanity in those children are brought out. That they will be able to occupy their space in life. I've said that before, and I'm saying it again. No child will be dependent for life. We've been told, and that's my motto, that every child can learn. Every child can learn. And we're going to ensure that every child learns. And we're going to make sure that we differentiate, because there's differentiation in learning. We're going to ensure that these children that will come into our lives get a life to live. I'm going to ring this bell. And I'm asking God to help us today, because healing comes from God. And healing is in our hands. And like I said, we are going to be very sincere by the grace of God. So I ring this bell today. It's a clarion call for the healing of our children. Thank you very much.
So please, we are going directly to a group photograph.